going on, everybody? This is Atrocity here, coming at you with another YouTube video. Today what we're going to be discussing is a Magicka Dragonknight on live servers. I'm going to do two videos in the next couple of weeks. One is going to be on the live server currently before Elsewhere. The second one will be from an Elsewhere PTS perspective. What we're going to be discussing today, a lot of people have asked me about what my Magicka Dragonknight build is. So we're going to go over the rotation, the champion points, what our stats are, what Moonstone I use, what gear I use, and so on and so forth. So let's hop right into it. So our stats we'll go over first. Obviously you want to do 64 into Magicka for your attribute points. Maximum Magicka is going to be 31,403. And I think this is without food on. So let's throw food on real quick. With food, we have 35,712 maximum Magicka, 15.6k health, and 10,000 stamina. Our spell damage is 2115, and our spell critical is 59.1%. With a spell damage popped, we're sitting at 2538 spell damage and still the same spell critical. Magic recovery is 1576. As far as races go on the Magicka DK, there is a couple that you can use. First off, I prefer Breton just simply because of the sustain in a trial setting, in a dungeon setting, in a VMA setting. Your sustain is always going to be horrendous without that oomph from being a Breton. Khajiit is a very good class as well. Both are very close in damage. I've tested both. I tested in PTS. Have yet to test a Khajiit on live server, but I know that the sustain isn't going to be there like it is for a Breton. A Breton with Ellie and Orbs can sustain a full 6 million dummy parse, no problem, because you also have to take into the effect that you have the Battle Roar passive. The Moonstone that I'm using is the Shadow. For food, you want to use Witch Mother's Potent Brew, and you also do want to be a vampire for that Magicka recovery that you get from being a vampire. Let's go ahead and hop into the skills. So this is roundabout what you want your front bar to look like in a group and trial setting only. Solo content is fine as well. VMA, you want a different setup, which I will do a video later on about VMA and how you want to run your Mag DK. First off, for your first ability, you're going to use Molten Whip. You can use the other morph, which is not Molten Whip. I can't remember the name of it right now, but you can use it, but it's not as powerful as it was way back in the day. I'm sure people can remember once you had that offset balance or off balance proc, it would hit like a truck. It doesn't do that so much anymore, but it's still powerful. It's still effective. Me personally, I like the Molten Whip above all else. For your second ability, Burning Embers, and for your third, you're going to use Engulfing Flames. All three of these abilities come from the Ardent Flame tree, and they're very vital in your rotation. Obviously, in a group or trials content area, you do want to have some way of protecting yourself, so Harness Magicka is the way to go. Magicka DKs aren't like a sorcerer where you actually come with a shield in your kit. You actually have to use the Harness Magicka from the Light Armor tree. Inner Light is going to be your fifth ability, and for your ultimate, you're going to do Shooting Star. Now, you are going to have to do Mage's Guild 10 on your Mag DK. It is required. You do need the passives from Mage's Guild, and you definitely want the passive that comes with Inner Light. While slotted, your max Magicka is increased by 5%, and you gain Major Prophecy, increasing your spell critical rating by 2191. It's a very good passive to have, and you definitely do need it. Let's go ahead and get to the back bar. For your back bar, you're going to have Flames of Oblivion, which comes from the the Ardent Flame tree. So we actually use just about every skill possible in the Ardent Flame tree. For your second ability, Rearming Trap, this comes from the Fighter skill tree. It's the last ability down there. You don't need all of the passives in Fighter's Guild like Bounty Hunter. I actually don't have Banish the Wicked. That is kind of a must because we deal with a lot of undead and danger or werewolves in this game. So it's very good to have whenever you are trying to gain some ultimate. Am I right? Moving on, Inner Light. You do want to double bar Inner Light because you get that max Magicka increased by 5%. I mean, more magic, more damage. Fourth ability is going to be Eruption. This comes from Earth and Heart. It's probably your least damage dot that you have, but it still is extremely effective. So this is a requirement for a Mag DK to have in the rotation. The fifth ability is going to be from the Destruction Staff skill line, Blockade of Fire. And for your ultimate, which is the only ultimate you will use 99% of the time, is Standard of Might. Now, going over some of the passives that you need or that look really good on a Mag DK. First off, I would say that the best passive that Dragonknights have is the Battle Roar passive. Being able to restore your resources just from casting an ultimate is massive. Being able to sustain is terrific. So, more sustain, more damage, more magic, more damage. You guys get the idea. Let's see. Mountain's Blessing is a very good passive to have too. When you cast an Earth and Heart ability, you and your group gain Major Brutality for 20 seconds, increasing your weapon damage by 10%. So every time you cast Eruption, you get Minor Brutality for 20 seconds. So that's outstanding in itself. This is also very good if you're also trying to do speed runs in a in-game trials group. I've always found this passive handy, especially in a Sanctum Ophidia where you have to do a lot of running. You're not a stamina class, so you're going to run out of stamina quickly. So being able to just cast Eruption over and over and over again whenever you're not into a fight, that's very good to have because you can continue to rebuild that stamina, continue sprinting, and keep up with your group. Ardent Flame. This right here is probably the best passive that comes out of Ardent Flame. Increases the damage of your burning poison status effects by 50%. This is good on both stamina and Magicka Dragonknight, because either way you're going to be using poison or you're going to be using burning. When you apply burning to an enemy, you restore 500 Magicka. When you apply poison to an enemy, you restore 500 stamina. So, I mean, it's a very fair class whenever it's coming to being a stamina or a Magicka build. They really kind of try to balance it out as best as they can. Warmth. When you deal direct damage with an Ardent Flame ability, you reduce the enemy's movement speed for 30% for 3 seconds. This really isn't the best thing in the world, but it can be handy, especially in like VMA. It's good to have. Searing Heart, increase the damage of your Fiery Breath, Searing Strike, and Dragonknight standard abilities by 3% and the duration by 2 seconds. This is fantastic because then this is where we get into the rotation of things and how this all fits in nicely with a Magicka Dragonknight. World and Ruin increases the damage of your flame area of effect by abilities by 6%. Also another very good passive to have. So let's start to get into the gear. There is a lot of ways that you can build your Mag DK simply off of gear. My personal favorite as of right now would have to be 5-piece Mother Sorrow on the body, all Divines pieces, all with Magicka Enchants, 2-piece Zon, 1 heavy, 1 medium to get that Undaunted passive, all Divines, all max Magicka glyphs, and Spell Strategist. Spell Strategist, it's probably one of the most hard-hitting sets in the game, as long as you can have it continue to have good uptime. You want all 3 Bloodthirsty on the necklace simply because a Dragonknight doesn't have an execute. So therefore we kind of have to build our own execute, and we do that by creating 3 Bloodthirsty. And once you have the 3 Bloodthirsty on your jewelry and you get below 25%, your whip is going to hit like a truck. I think I've seen my whips cap out at 55k. I mean, that in itself right there tells you, wow. I mean, that's something that we really need. Spell damage on all jewelry pieces. Spell Strategist Inferno Staff on the front bar. Infuse trait, Fiery Weapon enchantment. Back bar is going to be the Maelstrom's Inferno Staff with a weapon damage enchantment. Those are listed in the Guild Trader as a Berserker enchantment, or it might be weapon damage. I think it used to be Berserker. And you also want this infused as well. So let's start to get into the explanation of rotations here. The best way to build a Magicka Dragonknight rotation is building the rotation around your whips, which is what we have done. You can have a very short rotation or a very long rotation, as long as you are building them around the whips that you are doing. So whenever you hear somebody talk about a Dragonknight, you'll hear them say, for instance, my rotation is a 5-4-2-1-3. That is the amount of whips that I'm using in the rotation. The rotation I'm going to show you guys today is a 42-step rotation. It's a very long rotation. I'm going to do it slow so that you guys can see it. And it's also posted in my Discord as well, if you guys need to see it on paper. So we'll do a slow rotation, then do it full on out, and we'll see how it goes. Like I said, this will be a 6 mil parse, so in order to focus on the parsing, whenever I do the actual parse, I won't be speaking. I'm just going to let you guys watch and see what happens. And additionally, guys, if you guys have any questions, message me on Twitter, YouTube, Discord. I know I've had a lot of people ask me questions about the Dragonknight build, and this is me sharing my knowledge with you of what I've learned over the years. Granted, it's not the best Dragonknight build in the world, but it's definitely a viable one. Definitely one that you can use in dungeons and trials. You can use it anywhere, and it's going to take effect. I've taken this character into Battlegrounds on a PvE build, and I have dominated in there. Let's do CP real quick before we actually get into the rotation. So for CP, your red tree is standard CP, 81 Ironclad, 42 Spell Shield, and I use 49 in all, but this changes for whatever content you're doing. Just as of right now, just as a static champion point setup, this is what I have. For your green tree, 51 Warlord, 100 Arcanist, 32 Tenacity, 36 Tumbling, and 51 Shadow Ward. Now this green tree, all three of these is ultimate preference. Whatever you guys think is more comfortable for your build is what you should use, but I definitely suggest that you do the 100 and Arcanist, whether you're Breton or Khajiit. Blue tree, this is where you get into your actual damage on your character. 56 Elfborn, 56 Elemental Expert, 20 Spell Erosion, 16 Staff Expert, 61 Master at Arms, and 61 Thaumaturge. What you can also do on your CP as well, if you think it's more fitting, is you can do 66 Master at Arms, 75 into Thumb, and then just balance where you're not jumping champion points into these. You can also remove the Staff Expert and test with that as well, but as far as I know, this is what has served me best over the years of playing a Magic Dragonknight. Let's get into the rotation. First off, I am using Essence of Spell Power Pots. They're crafted with, let's get into the alchemy portion here, Cornflower, Lady Smock, and Water Hyacinth. This is made with Lorcan's Tears. This is max level potions, so you have to have your alchemy level up to 50 as well. And that should be for any tune across all boards. Having your alchemy leveled to 50 is extremely effective. But anyways, let's get into the rotation. So first off, what I like to do whenever I'm doing a Magic Dragonknight rotation is I like to pop my Inner Light and then go in with a heavy attack, because you have a 50% chance for your first attack to crit. So that's a 50-50 chance of going right out of the gate with a big damage increase. So Inner Light, heavy attack. Then you do Eruption, light attack, Flames of Oblivion. And remember, guys, to light attack in between every single ability, because it extremely helps with keeping your damage up. It increases the number over time. Light attacks are a huge bonus into whatever rotation you're doing. You'll see that light attacks are most of the time either 2 or 3 on your combat metrics, which we'll show you guys after we get done with the actual parse. So Eruption, Flames of Oblivion, Trap, Wall, Bar Swap, Engulfing Flames, Burning Embers, and then you're going to do 5 whips. 2, 3, 4, 5. Bar Swap, Wall, 2 whips. 1, 2, Engulfing Flames, Burning Embers. That is the first set of 2 in the rotation. Your second is going to reset you on your back bar, so you'll come back, you'll recast Eruption, Flames of Oblivion, Trap, Wall, and then you'll do 4 whips. 1, 2, 3, 4, Engulfing Flames, Burning Embers, Whip, Wall, 3 whips. 1, 2, 3. That's it. That's the rotation. There is a couple ways that you can edit and perfect this rotation. You want to get 2 Dragonknight standards in this rotation, parsing on a 6mm dummy. Normally parsing on a 3mm dummy, you're already doing terrific damage, so trying to get over that hump of only using 1 standard is going to be difficult on a 3mm. But on a 6mm, it is 100% possible to do. So normally what I like to do is I like to do the first set where you do Eruption, Flames of Oblivion, Trap, Wall. You switch to your front bar, do your dots, 5 whips, Wall, 2 whips, Engulfing Flames, Burning Embers. Then you go to your back bar again, and you drop your standard after you relay your dots again. What you can do is for every standard you drop, you replace that with a whip. I've seen that done in the past. It does help keep uptime on your dots, and it does help keep flow with the rotation. Normally, I go all out and I just continue with the rotation and go from there. This build can hit anywhere from 45 to 50k. Once again, parsing really relies on how many crits you hit, how much damage you're doing, how your CP is set up. Everything ties into your parsing. There's nothing about your character build that doesn't go into parsing. Besides, you know, obviously your clothing or how your character looks. The cosmetics have nothing to do with it. But as far as damage goes, your skills, your CP, your weapons, your gear, all of it goes into it. But anyways, let's reset the dummy and get the actual parse going. This is why I need 2 dummies. Alright, let me tell. Alright, looks like he's ready to go. Ladies and gentlemen, we are ready to parse. Normally, what I like to do is I like to wait halfway through my potion before I actually start the parse. We're going to go all out on this parse, and we'll see where it goes. After that, we'll review combat metrics, and we'll see where we could have improved or where we couldn't have improved. So let's get right into it. You'll notice I animation cancel my Wall of Elements. It helps keep the steady flow. And if you're running low on magic, don't be afraid to drop your standard before doing your dots. There's no shame in it. So that was overall a fairly good parse. There could have been a couple things that we improved on. We missed a couple orbs, so obviously that hurt our sustain. And just like any DPS parser, once you start to run low on your resources, you start to panic a little bit. And that's kind of what I did right there. So anyways, 45k, and I can show you previous fights where the damage has definitely, I mean, 46, almost 47k, 45, almost 46k. The parses definitely vary a lot, especially on what you're doing and how you're doing it. But as you can see, light attack is our highest hitting damage here. So whenever I tell you to weave, I mean it. Weaving is one of the most vital things of keeping a solid rotation going. Obviously, Molten Whip, that's going to be our second highest hitting because it's our direct damage. Eruption did some alright damage right there. It's pretty good. Normally you don't see that. Normally you'll see, as long as you have good uptime on Flames of Oblivion, that it's normally higher. But as you can tell, my major intellect, my major sorcery, my major brutality, it was all up 100% of the time. Berserker, that comes strictly from Wall of Elements. So that just shows how well I kept Wall of Elements up. 98% uptime on an enchant, that's pretty good. Minor Force was only up 91%. Flames of Oblivion was up 92%. That's not bad. Zon kind of proc a little could have been a little better. Buffs out. Burning Embers 91%, Engulfing Flames 88%. That's very high numbers, especially with such a complex and long rotation. So if you're hitting anywhere from 80 to 90% with the uptime on these dots, you're doing well for yourself. So don't doubt yourself. You're doing great. Spell Strategist, pretty good, especially considering we have such a long back bar rotation. 4 dots that we are putting down twice, and being able to keep Spell Strategist up on the front bar is a very good thing to be able to do. Burning could have been a little better. Trap, that's usually pretty standard for Trap. Zon could have procced a little more. But other than that, that's an alright parse. Like I said, I have hit 55k on this character in the past. With the new PTS on the Iron Atronach, the highest I've hit thus far is 93k. There will be a video showing and displaying that later down the road. I'm going to try to post a video once a week for you guys, just to let you guys see everything. But that's about it, folks. If you have any questions for me, like I said, message me on Twitter, Discord, YouTube. It doesn't matter. Leave a comment below. And if you enjoyed this video, drop a like, guys. It really helps me. Really helps get these videos out in the community. And we all know the ESO fam is one of a kind. Now let's keep it together. But y'all have a great rest of your day, night, whatever it may be. Take care. I'm out.